Welcome back to the world of English exams. Today's video is going to discuss about prepositions. Prepositions are parts of speech which are very important for the Ielts exam. Mainly, they are very important to connect the places or positions of nouns. So, we are going to understand what are prepositions and how to use them appropriately in the IELTS test, and also I'm going to teach you with an example or a sample as to how to identify prepositions. So what are we waiting for? Let's understand about prepositions in detail so that the next time you don't find it difficult to use them in the IELTS test. So let's start the video by understanding what are the various uses of prepositions. So here the word prepositions mean the positions of nouns. So pre indicates before and positions indicate the location, and for that reason these prepositions are also called position words or location words, and they are often associated with nouns, but they can also be associated with gerunds, that is ing forms. So the basic uses of preposition can be in the listening test for map labeling. So for labeling a map, all you require is the information about the various positions of landmarks. They will act as a guide in order to get the right answers. And of course, maps are a very important constituent of the academic writing task 1 as well. So for map labeling, whether it is listening or reading or writing, you need to use prepositions. They are a compulsory element. Then of course for writing, as I was talking about, prepositions are also used to describe the various trends: increase, decrease, fluctuation, and so on. So these are basically what prepositions are and how to use them. But now we are going to turn our focus on to prepositions with respect to time and place and other common prepositions. So first let's learn what are the prepositions of time. So basically there are three prepositions which are often associated with time. Not that the others are not used, but these are the three most frequently used prepositions with time. The first one is in, the second one is on, and the third one is at. Guys, there is a significance of choosing an inverted pyramid to describe the prepositions. As you can see, this wherever the position of in is located is broader. Can you see that? So which indicates that in is used to signify something which is very broad. When it comes to at, it is narrowed down. So at is used to talk about specific time. So this will act as a very good way to remember the prepositions of time. So now let's look at some examples of when to use in, when to use on, and when should at be used. This will prove to be particularly useful while describing a trend in the IELTS test as well as for speaking. Okay, so basically in is used to talk about weeks. So my exam is in 8 weeks, for example. Then also for months. My IELTS result would be declared in August. Then for years, in 2019. Okay, so the festival is supposed to take place in 2019, like that. Then for centuries, in the 17th century, so something is an event took place. Okay, so then for decades, so in the 80s people were more friendly with the others due to lack of mobile phones possibly. Then for seasons, in summer, in spring, in winter, like that. Then also to talk about the times of a day, in the morning. So we have tea in the morning. Then we meet our friends in the evening, like that. So whenever you're talking about all these situations, you have to use a preposition in to signify the particular time. Then I hope you understood this. If you want to make a note of this, you may pause the video here, make a note of it, and then proceed. Then moving on to on. On is basically used for days. On Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday. So my exam is on Thursday, like that. And also to talk about specific days, on 15th July. Then when you have to combine a day with the time also, you can use on Sunday morning, like that. Then at, as I told you, at is specifically used for talking about a particular moment of time, at this moment. So that's what it is used for. So as I told you, the first application is to talk about a specific time period, at 9:30. So my dad usually arrives at 9:30, which means at 9:30. Then part of the day, at night, like that. So basically, so this is the explanation regarding prepositions of time with respect to in, on and at. Of course, for telling the time you also use past. You also use to, quarter to, a quarter to 9, a quarter to 10, like that. Then you also use around 8 o'clock, about 6:30, like that. So throughout the day, like that. So these are the frequently used ones, although others are also used. Then let's move on to the second very useful classification of prepositions, which is called prepositions of place. So prepositions are also used to indicate the place or the position of nouns. I am giving you the examples again by taking the three major prepositions of place: in, on, at. And again you can see that here I have taken a pyramid where in is signifying the broadest area and at is signifying the narrowest one. So when you're talking about a bigger place, then you use in, and when you talk about any specific place, then you are going to use at. Let's look at some examples very quickly for this. Okay, so in India, so when you're talking about countries, you're going to use in India, in China, in the United States of America, like that. Then to talk about cities, like in Paris. Then when you're talking about an enclosed place, a place which is surrounded by boundaries, then you can use in. I am in the lift, I am in the classroom, like that. Then when you're talking about places like floor or ground, then definitely you have to use on the floor, on the ground, on the train. Yeah, you should not tell it as in the train, you have to call it on the train. Then on the banks of rivers like Ganga. So like that, then let's move on to at home, at the theater. Of course, I just skipped two examples here, on Park Avenue and on High Street. Then when you want to talk about specific places, then you're going to use at home. I am at home, I am at the theater, I am watching a movie at the theater, like that. So I hope this is very clear, and just like I mentioned before, if you want to make a note of this, you may pause the video here and make a note of it before proceeding. Now let's look at some very commonly used prepositions, mainly for listening test and reading test. This will be very, very useful. Past, above, through, below, under, adjacent to. So beside, beneath, underneath, over, across, nearby, far off, far away. So all these prepositions need to be understood very well, and to attain perfection in this concept, all you require is some grammar worksheets, and they will be very soon available on our website, World of English Exams. So do check them out, and in the meanwhile, let's do an interesting activity. So now that we have understood how to what are prepositions, let's see how to identify prepositions. And for this, I have taken an example from the real Ielts preparatory materials that are there on our website, www.worldofenglishexams.com. So when we have previously shared a video about bar chart, so this is the example answer that I have written. So let's look at the sample answer, and I have divided it into two segments. The first segment, I am going to help you to identify the prepositions, and then I am going to give you a small test for about 2 minutes to identify the prepositions. So you may use the comments section below to write all the prepositions, and I'm going to check it. So let's see this. The given bar charts provide the information about, so this is also a preposition, about the rate of marriages and divorces in the US. So here this in is a preposition. From 1970 to 2000. So from and to are also prepositions. Along with the marital status of American adults in the year. So in is a preposition here. If you carefully observe, I have highlighted it in red so that if when you observe, immediately you should be able to identify the prepositions. So in the years 1970 and 2000. Then overall it is evident from the first graph that there was a decline in the number of marriages in the USA. If you see, I'm stressing and emphasizing on prepositions. And the divorce rates showed some fluctuations throughout the period. Then second graph indicates that the highest percentage of adults were married in both the years 1970 and 2000. So this is how you indicate prepositions, and prepositions, as you can see, are used for indicating years, places, which are mostly nouns. So I hope this activity helped you a great deal in identifying and understanding prepositions. So let me give you 2 minutes of time to do this activity, or let's say 3 minutes to do this, because you're doing it for the first time. I'll go ahead and give you 3 minutes to identify the prepositions in this segment of the bar graph. So, and your 3-minute time begins now. One minute is up. Minutes up. So I hope by now most of you might be able to identify the prepositions and might have identified them already, and we are hoping to see your comments. You have 30 seconds to go. That's it, guys. So this is the lesson about prepositions, and I hope this was useful. If you found this video helpful, please do like it, share it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, World of English Exams. So till I see you with the next video, happy preparation, guys.